I wish I still smoked. My name is Chris Raymer, grateful recovered alcoholic. And I'm watching that clock closer than you smokers. So we're not going to go long, but I'm talking about the steps, the 12 steps. And again, my early days in Alcoholics Anonymous, we didn't spend much time talking about that, like never. We talked about your day and your dead cat and, and stuff. It was all important, but this is kind of cause and effect. I heard it was in a meeting not long ago, and some guy said, some of us are going to get this and some of us are not. It's not my experience. It's easy to say that just, it allows me to justify every relapse I ever had. I'm just not going to get. But again, our chief responsibility is that adequate presentation of the program. And so if you've been in defense of a whole bunch of you in here that have struggled, you were never given an adequate presentation of the program. It's just that keep coming back is not an adequate presentation of the program. Just keep saying it. But neither is going to 90 meetings in 90 days. I got to talk at Founders Day a few years ago, and I said it from the podium there. And just, if I could click my finger and get rid of one thing in Alcoholics Anonymous, it would be that. There would be that saying. We set people up for an absolute ass whipping. Yep. That little college guy. He thinks because he sat on my blind side that I can't see him, but I can. You can see it. Yeah. No, he's living in his mom's basement and he hasn't got a job. He'd go to 90 meetings in 90 days. That nice little single mom with two, little kids, she's not going to be able to do that. Sooner or later, they're going to get sick and going to have to stay home. And then you got some nice lady out there. Well, you're going to have to start over. That's the stuff that makes us look like a cult. It makes us look stupid. Tell the newcomer to go to as many meetings as they can go to. I love going to meetings, and I had people that would just encourage me to go to as many as they could. Yeah, but don't put a number on it if you can, because it just sets people up for failure. They get a legitimate reason not to do it. Meetings don't keep me sober. God keeps me sober. My job is to get connected to God. Well, how do you do that? I don't believe in God. I don't care. I don't. You do the work, you're going to believe in something. Guys, I've never seen it fail. It'll God, that connection. You see a little issue, man? Pretend, look. I'll just put a little face up there. That's God. Your job is to get connected to that power. Okay, how do we do that? We work the steps. People all the time, the book is pretty clear. It talks about having a spiritual experience as a result of the steps, a spiritual awakening as a result of the steps. It's like you want to get it all figured out, and then you're going to do this. I'm sorry if I can't possibly do that. I'll show you a little thing. If you read the history, and I can show you guys the little recovery websites I put together, it's up to date. There's some great speaker sites on here, but there's some great little history sites on here. God, the internet is just loaded with a bunch of crazy stuff about recovery, but there's some really good stuff out there about it. If you read any of the history, folks, they talk about working the steps quickly. The old guys in there never took this long period of time to work the steps. It's just, it was not that complicated. If any of you guys ever get a chance to go to Akron, you go to Akron and you sit down there in Dr. Bob's house. And if any of y'all haven't gone, y'all need to go. And you need to go to Stepping Stones. Because it's just absolutely phenomenal to watch and see. I could talk 2 days about that trip. And but you go to Dr. Bob's house, they would sit down there in the middle and discuss this. And they would go walk upstairs and go to his little room. And all that original furniture is still there. You could take a meal right there on the same bed where Dr. Bob took how many gazillions of people to do a little third step prayer, and then go back down to the little coffee table and pour another cup of coffee and start working on their fourth step. Guys, nobody, look at Wally P's back to basic stuff. This is all based on the history stuff. They were all working these steps within a matter of a couple of days, an afternoon. And we've got these people out there right now that are just, we're not going to hurry through the steps. We're going to take our time. That translates, in English, what that translates to, I don't have time to mess with you. And I'm sorry if I've offended you, but that's what it means. Guys, there's this little thing called, how do I put that? The first time through the steps, and we get to work the steps the rest of our lives, guys. I love to do an occasional 4-step, get current with some crazy shit I'm hanging on to, all that. But what some of this stuff is about is it's triage. I got hit on a bicycle. A deer ran into me, and this is a billion years ago, and I hit the asphalt. I was coming down a hill and hit it. It was a bad bike accident, and they took me to the hospital, and the first thing they did, was, check blood, oxygen, making sure I was banged up. I had broken bones, making sure I was okay, and then after that, they started, with a tweezer, started pulling gravel out of my ass, clink, dink, clink, dink, forever. They didn't pick the gravel first. They made sure I could breathe. Can y'all see that analogy? This is what we're supposed to be doing in the steps, folks. Nobody in the early days of Alcoholics Anonymous took longer than a short period of time to work these steps. I'm not going to be dogmatic about it. You got to do it in a day. You got to do it in 2. I don't know, guys. Take a couple of weeks if you want to. But any longer than that, the clock's ticking. Remember, we put that little dead guy down there? The progression of the illness is that it'll be harder to stop. That obsession will come back. I can... early on, the craving that we talked about can be satisfied with small quantities of alcohol. How many of you guys ever went to a steak dinner and drank a glass of wine and went home and went to bed? Just I've done it 1,000 times. The rest of you are liars. No. I started drinking, and I drank until blackout every time. That's called end-stage alcoholism. There's a few of you out there. Y'all understand? But there were years that I could drink the craving can be satisfied on certain days with smaller quantities of alcohol. And some days, you'll find, as it progresses, it'll be less and less likely you can do that. My intention was to drink a little bit, and I passed out before my date that I'd been looking forward to all week long. It's like, not good. Was that my intent? No, it was not. But the faster we work these steps, the faster we can do it. And again, I'm going to repeat myself. We can work these things over and over and over. I go to step studies online, guys, and I get little groups, and we just study the work. Our AA group, we read the literature and talk about it, just like Jerry was talking about. It's just fascinating. And I can learn, I learn new stuff all the time. We're going too slow for too many people, guys. And that's what I'm going to talk about for a period of time. Do you have a question? If it's quick.
Okay. What do you define as slow versus long? So there's reading covered, pages.
I know there's a lot of people. You'll hear what she's asking about how long slow is slow. There's a lot of people. Well, we read the book together. Okay, but there's not one place in the big book where it says to do that. I'm a fan of it. Read. Just read quick. I'm going to show you real quick. And this is a little quick outline. There's 2 little things that I'll send you if you get it. I didn't see. Did any of y'all take pictures of that during break? I didn't see you. I was doing stamping. I didn't see you. I'm going to shame you in 3 hours, and y'all haven't done that. I'll just take it down. No, you can read it. This is a little quick outline that I use with the first step. Usually where we take too much time is in the first step. The steps are outlined in the first 100 pages, give or take a page. The doctor's opinion up to page 44. There's, guys, 60 of those pages are the first step. The next 11 steps are covered in the next 40 pages. Y'all see, it happens pretty quick, guys. There's some of these steps that just have a couple of paragraphs, for heaven's sakes, to talk about. There's no sense in just dragging this out painfully to do the deal. Do we honestly believe that are you an alcoholic or not? Well, I don't know. Then let's stop. Let's go back and let's look at the first step. Physical craving. When I put alcohol in my system, can I control every time the amount I put in my body? Well, sometimes that's not what I ask. I ask at certain times, do you drink too much? Well, yeah. Okay. Given sufficient reason. Sometimes you can't control it. How's that for a start? Can you stop and stay stopped? I can stop for a little while. Y'all follow? Y'all think about this first step stuff, guys. How many of you guys y'all know what a monkfish looks like? They're the ugliest little. I'm sorry, I'm hurt the little fish's feelings, but they're the ugliest fish on earth. It's just like looks like a little fish covered with purple slime, the little boogers, and it's. My first job at Omni International Hotel, chef came up there and he says, "Here, clean this case of monkfish." I know how to clean a fish. I'm an apprentice. I know how to do it. And I start to look at that, and I cleaned one and like that, and I'm kind of like this, kind of shaky, because it makes you just horrible. He said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I don't know if I can clean this whole case. I'm feeling uncomfortable, like I'm fixing to hurl." He said, "Go work on them potatoes over there. I'll get somebody else to do this." You know how many monkfish I've messed with since then? That was 1975. You know how many monkfish I've messed with? No, 0. If I see them in the grocery store like that, oh shit! Oh. I don't want to go near them. I make decisions every day. I have tons of choices. Big Book is crystal clear. On page 24, it says, "We have lost the power of choice in drink." I get people out there just out of treatment. Well, my counselor said I have a choice today whether I'm going to drink. Your counselor's a dick. Okay, so let's move. No, but they don't understand. Y'all understand? I have lots of choices. Did you get up this morning and do some prayer and meditation? Yeah. Did you finish this work? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Are you working with others? Are you staying in all 3 parts of that program? Yeah. Okay. As long as I keep doing that, guys, the obsession will stay away. So many people out there that just believe, well, sooner or later I'm going to think about drinking. If you stop in all 3 parts of the program, sooner or later the obsession will come back. We die from this, guys. Billions of us die from this because we simply stop. Let's keep going. And I'm going to say this real quick before I forget. Your program is going to look a little bit different than mine. Jerry alluded to it a second ago. Guys, this is not just, you got to do it exactly like that. I just think the closer we can align what the Big Book is asking us to do, the better it's going to be. And I don't think there's anybody out there trying to hurt us by going slow or taking our time. But we got a lifetime to do some of that minutia. This right here at the beginning, this is triage. Let's get you on some solid ground so the obsession goes away. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, show you some stuff. These are, and I'm going to go into this. This is not scientific in any way. These are chip sales out of Houston, Texas. We monitored them in Houston and in Dallas for years. They'd send them to us, and bless their hearts for doing it. The intergroups did it. There's gazillions of places, probably hundreds of places out there to buy Desire chips. Y'all follow? The chips that we give y'all at the end of the meetings or before, anybody celebrating 30 days, we give you a little chip. Those, you can buy those chips anywhere. Intergroup sells them too. Okay? And these are numbers from Intergroup. So I'm saying it's not scientific because there's no way I can gather from where you bought these chip from. But been monitoring this stuff since the early 90s it's just, it'll give you an idea basically. Yeah, in 22, this is right at the beginning of COVID, everything's kind of shifted a little bit, but these were the most current stats that I had. At Intergroup there, we sold 10,210 Desire chips that year. Y'all see it? 1 month chips, 4,964. Did y'all see a slight drop there? I mean, what? We dropped 5,246 folk? 1 year chips, 1,280. That's about 12.5%. In the forward to the second edition, guys, it gets really clear. I've talked to historian after historian about it, archivists about our 75% success rate. Some relapsed, got back on track. At the end of the day, 75% of us were staying sober. These are the people that really wanted it, came and stayed sober. That was all the way back in the day. When people were actually working the steps out of the Big Book, we had a really good success rate. And today we've got so many people wanting to water this message down, our success rates are horrible. You should see it in Europe. Less than 5% of the people out there are getting sober. Because all they're doing is one thing. They're stressing meetings. Just go with a meeting. The meeting makers make it and all that. Okay. Let's work the steps while we're at it, though. I think that would help you. There's a I think I made that point. I don't want to beat it to death, but it's if you look at it again, you email me, just say Atlanta stuff and I'll send it to you. But this little chip is like a little quick qualifying. Those guys qualified me. It took them like 25 minutes, 20 minutes if I remember correctly. It wasn't long. We'd finished a meeting. It was at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. They were ready to go home to go to dinner, but they loved me enough to sit with me for a few minutes and finally qualify me. Guys, I've been to treatment. I've been to all this other stuff. We talked about all the external stuff, but we hadn't talked about the symptoms. Again, that's the same thing that ties us all together. We're all different, but the symptoms are the same. Physical craving, this inability to control it once we put it in our system, and the mental obsession. And they sat down and they qualified me, and I was changed. Bless those guys. And the next day we did, steps 2 and 3. Got up and started working on a 4-step. 2 weeks later, I'm sitting on the tailgate of my truck. It's Friday. I got money in my pocket. 7-Eleven's right across the street. And I'm sitting there with a big shitty grin on my face because I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink. It's like I'm not. It's like, when's the last time you thought about kissing a cat's ass? Me either. Oh, probably shouldn't have said that. But anyway, But to take it in a book, if you want to go faster, I've got this other little deal called the steps. Now, where is that? Okay, and I wrote it down. If you read the table of contents in the big book, it'll kind of confuse you because there's, like I said, some of those chapters have multiple steps involved in there. But if you look at this little guide right here, it'll tell you the exact page numbers on it. So if you're working with a newcomer, and they're working on 4 steps, you can show them the exact pages to go read. Big Book asks us to ask the new man to read the book, and while they're reading it, I'm going to cherry pick. I'm going to get them through this, and I'm going to get them through this work as quick as we can, and because the faster we get them through the work, let me do it real quick. I'm watching it. That first step takes 30 minutes or so. If I make a list of all the damage you did drinking. Nowhere in there does it say that, guys. You're not going to scare us into recovery. Let's just show us the symptoms and let's move on. This is the thing that'll get us. Steps 2 is real simple. What's it asking us to do, guys? Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Occasionally I work with somebody that says, I don't believe in anything. Okay, you're the king of the universe. You're the strongest thing on earth, right? Okay. Don't know what to tell you. But I'm not going to tiptoe around this God thing. I hear people all the time, and we do workshops. If they'd have talked about God when I first got here, I wouldn't have stayed. And I wonder how many people we have killed because you did stay. No, I'm not. This is about a spiritual experience, folks. This is about a spiritual awakening. I'm not saying it's got about church. You've got to go do this. I'm all for that, guys. I'm saying, how many preachers do you think we've treated in my facility? How many deacons? How many people? Guys, this is not about that. This is about connection to that. Can y'all see that? You get disconnected. Yeah. We talk about it real quick. That internal discomfort, folks, that spiritual malady. When I stop drinking, the further away I get from that drink, the harder this is going to be. 1 minute, okay, guys, I lay that booze down and I go, oh, God. I go buy me some expensive Lululemon shit because I'm fixing to go back to the gym and I'm going to go get another gym membership that I'm never going to pay back. Oh my God, half the amends I owed were gym memberships. I'm going to get this, and I'm feeling pretty good. And about 2 weeks out, I'm not feeling so good, right? I'm starting to get a little irritable, restless, and discontent. Yeah, the fear's starting to come back, the anxiety. Y'all read on page 52. I'm not going to read it now, but read the bedevilments. Guys, you could have asked me to look at answer those questions on page 52. You could have asked me that when I was 18 years old, and I could have answered those questions. I was a miserable little cuss, and then I found alcohol, and I got better. And now you're taking the alcohol away, and I'm bad again. That's why so many people that come back to treatment with us, with all over the world, they walk in the door and they're not in there 10 minutes. They got an antidepressant shoved up their ass. Are you depressed? No shit. Yes. Okay. And some of these folks got clinical depression. I'm not up here to talk about it. I'm saying a lot of these people have untreated alcoholism. Guys, those medications I was on, and I thank God I had them. I'm glad I'm still alive today. Y'all follow? But with a good sponsor and a fine doctor, I was able to wean off all of those medications I was on. My problem wasn't clinical depression. My problem was untreated alcoholism. Number one symptom of alcoholism is depression. But your families don't understand that. I mean, I talk to them all the time on the phone. They don't. Why don't you just quit? I don't understand. He hadn't taken a drink in 6 months, but he's miserable. Yeah, I'm sorry. He ain't working the steps. You'll get, those people get real defiant about it. Okay. They're the ones that haven't worked the steps. They want to argue why they're okay, but this is not a race. Yes, it is. Huge race. Let's get connected. Steps 2. You willing to believe there's something bigger than you? Yeah. Guys, even atheists get well. You follow? I can hook you up with lots of literature for you little atheists in here that get together around the spiritual solution here. It's the same. There's great stuff out there on the internet. I know a lot of atheists that have gotten sober. Stop splitting hairs. Do the work. You're going to believe in something. Never seen it fail. Little third step prayer. We sit there and get quiet. Do a little third step prayer. And immediately we get a notebook. Start working on this 4th step. Y'all got it? I see so many of this. Well, we're going to start working on that 4th step. Next month when I see you, we'll meet and we'll get you started on the 4th step. Guys, now. I'll send you a little quick right straight out of the big book. And you can get it. It's just make a list of the people you're pissed at. Well, I'm going to put your name on there. Okay. Okay. But the deal with the 4th step, that's where they used to do it. We lose them right after the 3rd step prayer. Y'all follow? Yeah, right in the next paragraph down, it says, next we launched out on a course of vigorous action. Can y'all get the visual? We launched out of course. It doesn't mean go sit on your ass for a month and then, well, I want to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Come on, guys. Get quiet. God, show me the people that I'm pissed at, and the names are going to start coming. Jerry may have 5 names on his list. You may have 10 names on your list. You may have 30 names on your list. Okay, whatever. We're not comparing it. I was talking here at one of the churches a billion years ago, and this guy comes up. God, he wanted to show me. He's got 3 notebooks like that. He's holding them. He's in a big book, pencil behind his ear. And it's after I talked, and there's a bunch of people coming up and want to thank me, and so they could go smoke. And he wants to stand there. Chris, I need to show you my 4th step. If you do a thorough 4th step like I did, I had 1,500 names on my inventory. And if you do that, selfish and self-centeredness will disappear completely. And I said, you, buddy, are the most selfish prick I've ever met in my life. Now go. What are you doing? You're really 1,500 names. Who are you, Damien? What are you Satan's spawn? You hate people, institutions, and principles you're mad at. Make a little list. And then we call them out, put them. You can do 4 columns, you can do 5 columns. I don't care. At the end result, what we're going to look at in that 5th column or 4th column is my mistakes, not my part. You mullet, my mistakes. Y'all follow? I've made lots of mistakes, and I get to look at that. A lot of my amends are going to come from that little column. Fear inventory. What's the fear? Why we got it? Sex inventory. There's 9 questions. I don't need a novel. I don't want to hear all the sordid details about your chicken costume. Well, maybe a little bit about that. I don't know. But no. We drop it, and then we do exactly. ASAP, we dump the 5th step. We were talking about that speaker. The speakers out there talk about this. We're going to take 10 hours, and we're going to set aside for our 5th step. Oh, God. Guys, it just said on 62, the most selfish, self-centered sons of bitches on earth. Y'all follow? And I'm going to give you 10 hours to talk about yourself. No, I'm not. This is an inventory. We're going to get this thing done. Get it and get. And I'm there to show them about their character defects, and I'm there to show them about any amends that I see that we're going to get it. Fifth step, we dump it. An hour later, we do 6 and 7. We ask God to remove those character defects. My paralyzing shyness was almost killing me. God removed that. I'm still the shyest guy in the room, but I do pretty good when I get up here. It's just, guys, God's going to remove anything that stands in the way of your usefulness to other people. It's pretty cool. ASAP, guys. You an hour after you do a fifth step to 6 and 7. I've got the list. I go over it with my sponsee. We're going to start making those stupid amends. ASAP. We're starting to get this stuff knocked out. It's just, we make the best deal we can. I could talk an hour about it. I mean, amends process was when I first started. I mean, I really knew that I was in here for keeps. I was going to be good. Pay that goddamn money back. Clean off the wreckage of our past. Guys, the book talks about the reason we're doing this is so that we can be of maximum service to other people. A lot of people that haven't done that, guys, can't be of maximum service. Well, I'm afraid I'm going to be arrested. Have you called the judge? Have you talked to him about it? Oh, I can't do that. Guys, this is not sobriety. You know, when you're just kind of, hi, my name is Chris, and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic, and oh, God. Buddy, where's the power in this? You know, come on, let's clean up the wreckage. I've made some mistakes. I can go anywhere in the world I want. I know people that can't travel because they can't get a passport because they owe money for. Fix it. This is what we do, though. This is where sponsorship comes in, because I can sit with my sponsor and they can help me understand what this is really about. Y'all follow? Yeah. The only thing worse than making an amend once is making it twice. So don't screw it up the first time. Just run it by somebody first before you get out there and start doing anything. Ambushing your ex-girlfriend at dinner time, with her new family. No, that's not a really good idea. Yeah. While you're making the amends, guys, the book says we clean up the records of our past. We're doing steps 10, 11, and 12. 10. Have you stepped on anybody? Have you said something that you shouldn't? Then go clean it up. It's just real fast. It's the absolute coolest to be able to do that. I was wrong to say that. And then move on. 11th step stuff, prayer and meditation. Guys, every morning I get together with God. About 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. Old geezers, they're always up. What the heck? And I'm sitting there, get in front of my little computer. It's quiet time. And sometimes I go outside and listen to the birds. I ask God to show me what He wants me to do today. Not this big form. Y'all get confused. I'm going to do a guided meditation for 2 hours. That's so cool. How neat is that? I ride a bike down the river. It's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. But it's fun. It's just quiet, getting reconnected, remembering. And then what do? Step 12. Big Book says on bottom of page 129, in those first days of convalescence, nothing will so much help you stay sober as intensive work with other alcoholics. There's so many people out there, guys, and I'm going to hit it again pretty hard in this next hour. We're going to talk about it, guys. But oh God. I was doing a talk in New Orleans one time, and this great big mountain of a guy came up, and he said. And we were doing a workshop like this, kind of like we're talking, and he says, no, we don't let anybody in New Orleans. That's what he said. It's like, who died and made you king? I don't know. We don't let anybody in New Orleans sponsor until they're 5 years sober. Y'all follow? Y'all see this? That's why. The foundation stone of my recovery is helping others, what the book says. But you got a lot of people out there interacting their own opinions about this. Well, you're not ready to sponsor. You might not be ready to sponsor, but there's other things you can do. Service is service. Y'all follow? But the sooner you get out there. Jerry and I were eating at Waffle House before we got over here. I love Waffle House. There's none close to my house anymore, but I love. Anybody that ever was in the food business loves Waffle House. They're in there working their. It's just organized chaos. They're climbing on top of each other. Hey, I want oh my God. I want to go back there and tell them, close one eye and try that. They're running into each other. Oh my God, they do it. But my first sponsee worked at the Waffle House. And I used to go down there and watch him. We'd talk while he was cooking, and it was just the best. God, the people that I know in AA, geez, absolutely wonderful. Whole idea, though, guys, when you text me, I'll send you that little the little list of the page numbers and the little quick first step guide where we slow down, and I'll also send you that little website stuff that you guys can look at. Some of you guys haven't been on a computer in a million years, but there's some really great stuff out there. And if you start looking at it, seeing what they did in the past, you'll be able to, yeah. I think we can just become more effective. That's the whole purpose. Everything I do is about trying to become more effective year by year. I want to be a better sponsor. I want to be able to reach more people, and I've learned to do that. I'll say it and close. If y'all listen to any of the old talks I did, I used to cuss a lot from the podium. It wasn't a little ding and dang stuff. I was dropping F-bombs like an old, yeah. And an old lady got in my face about it. No, she didn't. It wasn't in my face, but she was very, very. I think what you shared was probably really good, but I couldn't hear you after the first F-bomb. And I spent about 12 hours defending it in my head. Nobody asked you to drive halfway across the country to go speak. I'm like, then I went and thanked her the next day. Y'all follow? I want to be more effective. I want to reach more people, not just the little 18-year-old gangbangers. I want to be able to talk to adults too. And I hope I've been successful at that. Let's take a quick break. Thanks, guys.
Chris, I just want to say thanks. I know you got to leave after.